Hello, everyone. You're most welcome to Diamond Clothiers. It's always a pleasure to have you here. If this is the first time you're coming across this channel, kindly click on the subscription button. So, in today's tutorial, I'm working on this project and it's going to be the short version, and the shoulder as well is not going to be as slim as what we have on this picture. So, this is the fabric I'll be making use of. I'm going to mix this plain fabric with the flower fabric. Okay, so let's get started. So my pattern paper, I've already used my pen to draft out my pattern. So let me just explain. I have my shoulder to shoulder measurement of 7.5 inches, and I added a shoulder slope of 1 inch. And from my shoulder to my bust line, I have 10 inches. I measured from my shoulder to my under bust, and also from my shoulder to my waistline, my hip line, and also to desired lengths of the plain part. Okay, so I've used my marker to just highlight it. Okay, so to work on my armhole curve, I'm going to measure 7.5 inches downwards. How did I get that? That's my bust, my round bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Anything you get there, just mark it, and then you draw a straight line across. Okay, that should be the chest line actually. So on that straight line that I just drew now, I'm going to divide that my 7.5 inches into 2. Okay, so whatever I get there, I'm going to mark it, and from that side I'm going to come inwards by half an inch. Okay, 0.5 inches. Okay, so on the other line I'm going to take my round bust measurement divided by 4 plus my sewing allowance, and then I'm just going to mark it. So right there I'm marking 9.5 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to connect those 2 points to my shoulder line to get my armhole curve, just like you see me doing. I hope you get that. I'll just go ahead right now to label my pattern. So I have my bust points, my under bust, my waistline, and also my hip line. Right now I'll be taking my round measurement on my pattern paper. So for the bust point, I'm going to take my round bust measurements divided by 4. It's actually 8.5 inches. Then I added 1 more inch to it, making 9.5 inches. I'm going to mark it right here. And on my under bust point, I'll take my under bust measurements divided by 4 plus 1 more inch, which sums up to 8.5 inches. Okay, so on my waistline as well, I'm going to take the same measurement, my round waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 more inch, which is 8.5 inches. So on my hip line, I'm going to take my round hip measurement divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches, plus 1 more inch, which sums up to 11.5 inches. So I'm going to connect all these lines together. Okay, while working on your curves, make sure you don't have any sharp edge, because our body is not edgy like that. It doesn't have any sharp edge. Okay, so the next thing I will do is that from the waistline I'm going to come down by 4 inches for the curve on the dress. I'm going to come down by 4 inches, and on the hip line I'll just go down by 1 more inch. I hope you get that. So for this dress, I don't want the basque waistline to be that sharp V. I don't want it to have that sharp V. So I'm going to curve it a bit. Okay. So I'm just going to find the means of connecting from that 4 inches downwards from the waistline to the 1 inch below the hip. Okay. So I'm going to connect it in such a way that it's not going to have a sharp V. I hope you get that. So right now I'll work on the neckline, and for the width I'll work with 3 inches, and for the depth I'll work with 3.5 inches for now. Okay, just for now. Later going to deepen the neckline into a v-neck. So I'll just connect those two lines together for now. So I'll be using this same pattern for both the front and the back. So because of that, I'm going to measure the back neckline. The depth is going to be 1 inch, so I'm going to connect it to the shoulder line. After connecting the neckline, I'm going to cut it out from that 1 inch neckline, and also the armhole. I'm not going to go in by that curve that we have, the half inch curve that we have. Okay, you can see what I'm doing right here. So I'm going to cut it out, and I'm also going to add 1.5 inches zipper allowance to the center back. Okay, so I've added the 1.5 inch zipper allowance, and you can see the neckline as well. So the next thing I'll do right here is to open my fabric. I'm going to fold it into two, and I'm going to place my pattern paper on it so as to cut my back pattern out. So don't forget to open up the zipper allowance line because the fabric was on a fold. So after you are done cutting, you should have yours looking like this as well. Okay, so I'm going to place this aside, and then I will be working on the front pattern right now. So to work on the front pattern, I'm going to adjust the neckline and fold in the zipper allowance line that I have. Okay, and also the armhole as well. I'm going to extend it by that half inch curve that we have here for the armhole depth. I hope you get that. So I'm going to place my fabric right now, and I'm going to cut it out. So after cutting it out, you place your pattern paper aside, and then you open up your fabric. Then you lay both the front on the back on each other, right side facing the right side. Okay, and then the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. After matching up the sides, make sure you don't make mistake with the wrong side and the right side. Okay, because this fabric I used was kind of confusing. So after laying it on each other, I will take it to my sewing machine. I will sew the side. I'm going to close up the zipper allowance for now, and right here, after doing all of that, I want to work on my neckline, and I'm just going to extend my neckline right from the shoulder. I'm going to be making use of 8 inches. Okay, so I'm going to give it a deep V neckline, and I will just cut it out. I think I like this neckline more, and it's looking so nice. Okay, so right now I'll just take my clothes to the sewing machine. I'm going to join the sides, I'll join the shoulder as well, and this is what I have after I was done. I've joined the shoulders. I went ahead to use that fabric to tape the back neckline, and for the front neckline I used a facing for it, and I've joined the sides. You can see that the neckline is looking so neat. See what it looks like. I've also joined the armhole as well. I also taped the armhole round. So for the neckline, you can use your iron to press in your hemi glue on it, or you just use your needle and thread to hem it round. Okay, so the next thing I'll be working on is on the down part. So the amount of fabric you need to gather around actually depends on how full you want it. It can be two times your hip size, three times, or four times. So it actually depends on you. So the fabric I have here, I think is like three times my round hip measurements, and I've gone ahead to use my needle and thread to gather it. So what I'm going to do is that from one end to the other end of the blouse, I'm going to measure it round, including the slopey parts. I'm going to measure everything to know what I have there. So after measuring, I have 50 inches, and I'll make sure that on the flowery fabric as well, I'll make sure that I have 50 inches as well. I hope you remember that this includes the allowance, the sewing allowance, and also the zipper side. So after getting my 50 inches, tie my I'm going to tie it on that point, on that edge. And the next thing I'll be doing is to lay open my the upper part of the dress, and I'm going to place the lower part, the flowery fabric on it, right side facing right side, and I'm going to pin it all around. I had to switch side because I prefer to start the pinning from this side. And after pinning it all around from one end to the other, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and I'm just going to sew it around. Okay, so after sewing, this is what I have, and the full length of this dress is actually 41 inches long. And for this side, the flower fabric, what I have there is 16 inches. Okay, so the flowery fabric is 16 inches. And the next thing I'm going to do is to go and weave the inside to give it a neat finishing. I'll weave the inside, and also I'm going to empty down part. I'll fold it by half an inch and further fold it by half an inch. Okay, so I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and do that. And for the zipper as well, I'm going to measure 20 inches right from the depth of my neckline. I'll measure 20 inches for the zipper allowance, and the remaining 21 inches I'm going to close it up. Okay, so we are literally done. Thank you for staying to the end of this tutorial. Don't forget to like, to comment, to share, to subscribe. Your subscription is